Wanting something deeply doesn't necessarily bring it into our lives. Are you with me? Have you been also on the path of wanting several changes in your life, several dreams, but not being able to manifest it? And it often leaves you feeling like, which part of the puzzle am I missing? Well, if you've been there, then today's episode is for you. I talk about the missing piece of puzzle that I found in my journey of how to really manifest in the way it's supposed to manifest. And let's dive in. On my journey of transformation, I heard this quote by Dr. Joe Dispenza. The quantum field does not respond to what you want. The quantum field responds to who you are being. Let's say it again. The quantum field does not respond to what you want. The quantum field responds to who you are being. I remember being completely blown away by this. One, because I was at the beginning of my entry into the world of quantum physics and meditation, and to look at the world from the viewpoint of the classical Newtonian physics that we've been taught. In the quantum physics model, there is a quantum field that is dynamic, that is all about energy and frequency, and the laws of classical physics don't apply there. And at this time, I felt like my affirmations that I had been using for a long time, I felt like there was something hollow about affirmations, and I didn't understand what it was until I put these pieces together. Quantum field, I understood, was this dynamic, beautiful field that we are basically a part of. But it is paradoxical in that it is both us but not us. It is separate from us, but never separate from us. It is the field, but it is also us. And as I understood more and more of that facet of the field, I understood that there is more to just saying something, because affirmations at the end of the day are just words and thoughts. And they're both incredibly important. I don't want to downplay the importance of them, but just by themselves, they don't work. Think about it this way. If someone said something really meaningful to you, but you felt like they didn't feel it, would you trust it? The answer is probably a no. We don't appreciate the things that are said without feeling, and so doesn't the quantum field. The field also responds to how you feel about your words and thoughts. So, affirmation then is your words, your thoughts, and your feelings coming together to create an emotion, to evoke an emotion, because emotions are energy, and the quantum field responds to energy because the quantum field is energy. I see all of this as like a dance where you take a step forward and the field takes a step forward. And when you are dancing in this perfect harmony and beautiful rhythm, when the energy of both what you're wanting and what the field is creating matches, that thing manifests. It's really as simple as that. I would say I often consider all of this to be a collaboration between the divine, which is the field, and us. A collaboration where we do our part and the field does its part, and magic happens. And today I won't go into how the field does its part. That's another episode in itself. But today I'll get into how we do our part. What is our part? So, from my story, I've learned is that our part is not to want, our part is to become. Let me say that again. In the collaboration between the divine and us, in the collaboration between the field and us, there is a part that the field plays. We leave it to that. But there is a part that we play. And that's where co-creation happens. And let's focus today on that part of what do we need to do? Actually, the key word is become. Who do we need to become? Because our part in this collaboration is not to want. Our part in this collaboration is to become. Suppose you desire love and you desire all these beautiful things in a partner. You want him to be or her to be emotionally available, kind and generous and financially stable, spiritually aligned, very fit, whatever may be the parameters. Suppose we create this list and we'll call it the list for now. This list is all you desire in a partner, and that's what you want to manifest, right? How you would go about manifesting this is to create this list and then become the list. What do I mean? Instead of waiting for this person to appear checking all your boxes, you become the person that checks all the boxes in themselves. So, if we want an emotionally available partner, are we emotionally available? And if the answer to that is not a full, solid yes, then we work on ourselves to become fully emotionally available. We cultivate that within ourselves. And that's where the magic happens. Because whatever you desire in the outside world, if you cultivate it in yourself, what we're doing is we're becoming these beacons of that energy that we want to attract. Because remember, the quantum field does not respond to what you want. It responds to who you are being. And who you are being is decided by the energy and the frequency that you're giving out. And the energy and frequency that you're giving out is decided by the emotion that you're feeling, who you are being. How do you walk? How do you talk? And this alignment between how you speak to yourself, your inner chatter, super important, how you speak to others. What is your mental chatter like? What is your state of happiness, of joy, appreciation? All of these come together to become the signal to the quantum field of who you are. So I say it like this: create a list of everything you want in the person that you want, this person that you desire to manifest. You take all the amazing qualities and then you become it. You become the list, and the quantum field responds with a full vibrational match in every way. And it will surprise you because it will be deeply, personally resonant in a deep, 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 deep way. And this is not always the easiest thing to do. I will actually share a story from my time when I was single and in Brooklyn, in New York. And I had really worked on myself after the divorce to take a lot of time to really rebuild internally. And there came a stage where I felt that I would like to find a partner and share that aspect of life together. So I would wake up in the morning and go for walking meditations that are taught by Dr. Joe Dispenza. I would go to the park in Fort Greene, Brooklyn every morning, and I would meditate there. And after my meditation, every time I would open my eyes, I would see that the park is suddenly just full of couples, right? It's just couples and their dog, couples and their kids, families. And every time I would open my eyes and look at this park and these couples, I would feel either annoyed or jealous or sort of resentful that they had it and I didn't. And I felt like it would never happen for me. Oh, all the good guys are all taken. And the mental chatter would become that of lack, severe lack. I fell in that hole many, 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 many times until one day this quote came back to me because I had a screenshot and I had it as a wallpaper on my phone. And the quantum field responds not to what you want, the quantum field responds to who you are being. And as soon as this thought came to me, I felt like I had an aha moment. Like I could catch myself in the pattern, in the moment. Who am I being? So if I am opening my eyes after a meditation and looking at this beautiful couple, and all I can feel is, oh, I don't have that. Why do they have it? I will never have it. Or fear thoughts of lack and scarcity, of all the good people are already married. Then who am I being? What is the signal then that I'm sending out as an energetic beacon to the field? The signal is that of lack, scarcity, fear, anxiety. These are all the emotions that are heavy and dark and dense and need to be transformed. The power of this moment, and I would say the power of meditation, is that you can actually watch yourself while you're doing all this and catch yourself. And so I caught myself and I asked myself lovingly, okay, so if you had the chance to do it all over again, how would you do it differently? Because we're going to do a walking meditation in the park tomorrow morning. How will you show up differently? And I gave it a thought. And next day, I went back to the park. And I was a little bit anxious because for some reason, this park was just full of couples as soon as I opened my eyes. When I would get there at 5 a.m. in the morning, there would be nobody. And then when I opened my eyes, it would be full. It was almost like the universe testing me. So, anyway, I did my meditation. I was feeling invincible and fearless and amazing. And then I opened my eyes and I walked around. I made a mental note. This is my opportunity to do something different. And of course, I walked 2 steps and there was this beautiful couple just enjoying the spring. And my mind started to go, oh no, this again. And I paused myself and I caught myself and I said, actually, this is quite beautiful. I'm glad they have it. And I kept acknowledging that I appreciate that they have it. And that's how I started. Instead of feeling lack when I saw couples, I started practicing appreciation. That's beautiful. That's love. I'm so happy love exists in the world. And so I trained myself for the first 10 days to just choose a different thought, change my mental chatter. And I felt my energy slowly change from longing to joy for others. And as I did this again and again, I think the more I saw love, the more I became love. Every time my mind would go into these spirals of lack and scarcity, because that happens a lot. New York is full of really gorgeous families and couples. And so when you're on the street, all you see is beauty. And it sometimes can be a challenge to not go into that place of lack. But I made it a practice slowly every day, 15 days, 20 days. I kept working on this, not going into the spiral of lack, not entertaining any of these thoughts. And it's so funny. Around 20 days, maybe a month of doing this work very consciously, not letting myself fall into the spiral. One day when I opened my eyes after meditation and I was just sitting on the grass enjoying the beautiful day. I remember this day so well. Everybody was out playing and just beautiful, magical day. And I felt so deeply happy for these people. And I didn't know them. Like when we appreciate the beauty of a flower, we don't say, oh my God, why don't I have this flower? You just are in awe and wonder that how beautiful it is and how amazing and incredible nature's design is. I felt like that day I could access that space of looking at couples and dive deep into the beauty and just appreciate it. It was very authentic that I'm happy they have it and it's magical and it's beautiful. And that day, I know something shifted vibrationally in me because now I was no longer a servant of that feeling of lack, of anxiety, of lack of imagination and appreciation. I was no longer a servant. I had chosen my thoughts again and again and again and delved into the feelings of what I really wanted to feel, which was love, that it became a solid pattern. Now, with this training, when I actually started dating, I can tell you, I had a vastly different experience than many people have, especially in the dating scene in New York, which can be very overwhelming. My big thing when I joined the dots in hindsight, this experience gave me the proof that if you want to create love in your life, you have to really appreciate the love that others have in their life so that you can invite that love into yourself and become a more loving person very authentically. Because in order to get what you want, you have to become it. And this step of not looking at others' relationships as a sign that I couldn't have it, that there wasn't enough for me, I started taking it as evidence that there is enough for me too. There is enough for everybody. And I started seeing life as full of opportunity. And I felt like when I went into the dating scene, instead of seeing it as, oh my God, there's so many people, how am I going to find someone? I felt like there's so many people. Of course I'm going to find someone. But another important thing that I felt this vibrational shift gave me was this confidence. I felt confident in myself. Well, not because I'm this, I'm that, It's because I was working on every single aspect of what I wanted in my list and I was becoming it. So I created a list of things that I want. And I had a short list, but it was very meaningful. And I had even put it out on my dating profile because I wanted people to know what I wanted. But by the time I put that list out there, I had become that person. If you asked my friends or the people that knew me and said, here is Charu's list and here's who she is there a perfect match between them? They would say yes. I wanted a really loving person and I was a really loving person. I also got rid of this obstacle, like I said in the story before, of judgment, analysis paralysis, lack, anxiety. I let go of all of that and changed it to feeling like there is a lot, there is enough for everybody. And that was the key. And I knew deep down, because I understood what a divine collaboration is, I was confident that I was doing my part. And the field always responds. Like Dr. Joe says, this is law. Like you become what you want to become. And the field's response, that is law. And I can tell you from my experience that if you take some time to draw up a list, and this works for any goal. This works for love, for success, for financial success, for any goal that you may have. I continue to apply this today. So for any goal that you have, this works. What I would do is make a list. So get really clear on what you want. Choose words and thoughts and goals that are really aligned with what you would like to create. That's step one. Step two, ask yourself, am I already being this? So for instance, people are very attracted to very fit people, but then are they very fit themselves? If the answer is no, then we start there. We become the very fit person that we want to attract. Then, number three, if you already are that person, are you already that person consistently? So, which means that are you in alignment in your thoughts, words, and actions? Because the consistency of this repetition, of this becoming of the list, is what gets you there. So step number three is become really consistent with aligning your thoughts, words, and actions every day. And this is a step where meditation as a practice is really helpful because you can only do so much with mindfulness, but with meditation, you go really deep into your brain, make some changes in a solid way. And then when you come out with eyes wide open, you remind yourself thoughts, words, and actions and how you feel are completely aligned. That's step number three. And then step number four, trust the process. But this becomes really, really easy, and you will never second guess yourself or the universe again if you have done step 1, 2, and 3. Why? Because it is law. It is the law of quantum physics that the field responds to energy and frequency, which means the field responds to who we are being. So if you're taking care of your part of the collaboration with the divine, which is to become and to be who you want to be, then the field responds with a vibrational match that is exactly attuned to you. And if you are like me, which I think you are, there's not much difference between us, then the field responds with, I feel, even more, even better, even more beautiful than what you could desire. And that, I think, is one of the key takeaways for me to manifestation. It's your words, it's your thoughts, and how you feel repeatedly, consistently, done 24 hours. You cannot be in alignment for 1 hour and then be out of alignment for 23. The reverse, actually. You can be out of alignment for an hour because we are all human. We make mistakes, but can we get back to alignment? These are some powerful takeaways for creating quantum shifts in your love life. Apply this tool to something that you desire. Make a list, become that list, become the vibrational match, stay in the beautiful juices of alignment 24/7. Walk and talk as that person, feel like that person, and trust the process and watch the magic unfold. And if your life changes dramatically after this. Let me know. You can write to me at Divine Amuleto, DivineAmuleto on Instagram. Drop me a comment and let me know how it goes.